When I pray for this city, I see racism gone from both sides. There's too much county versus city here. It's community. It's not about the races. When I pray, I see the brokenness. When I pray, I want to see transformation. Fourth obstacle. We only do it when it feels good. Yeah, it's been a good day. I saw God move. Let's pray. What do you do when you feel like crap? Huh?
Pray harder.
Thank you very much. You got the point. I'm preaching to the choir over here. What do you do when things aren't, when the world is just... I make the joke about the A1M1 tank sitting in my yard, blasting my little abode to smithereens. Don't you have those kind of weeks? Am I the only person that gets up and like my body, a part of my body says, I'm sorry, I'm not working today. Right knee, I've checked out, I have gone on vacation to the Bahamas. You can function perfectly without me. Thank you very much. Cars and faith. There you go. Wouldn't you hear what Paul had to say? In 2 Corinthians 12, verses 9 and 10. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, and the power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast more gladly in my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weakness, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. Boy, that describes my life. For when I am weak, I am then strong. He prayed to God about God. I don't think this was bad eyesight. Okay, historically we know Paul struggled. He was going blind. He had problems. He was like me. I want the big print Bible. Thank you very much. I left my regular Bible at home and I grabbed one from the back today and just literally, I'm like, oh dear Lord, look at that. Okay, I have eyesight issues. I don't think that's what Paul was. Listen, you don't pray that kind of prayer about eyesight. I want you to know he was struggling with something significant. He was a murderer. We know about Stephen. We know he persecuted the church. We know that he was celebrating when Stephen, and was instigating when Stephen was stoned. We knew he had a lifestyle of persecuting the church. He was on a mission to destroy the church. You don't know how many lives Paul destroyed in the name of Judaism. You don't know. I want you to think about the worst thing you've ever done. Think about it for a second.
Doesn't matter, it's all that I did it.
Will it ever leave you? There's a guy that when I was doing my clinical stuff for counseling, and we were ministering, Dave Baldwin and I, to this one elderly gentleman, and he came to Christ that day, and there was a breakthrough in his life. This complete. He had struggled with forgiveness. He couldn't apply it to it. He broke down and told us why. Because you see, as a young man, he was racing a car and killed a guy. Manslaughter. He could never forgive himself. Ever. Till that moment. He was 65 years old. Paul was struggling with something serious. I will guarantee you, every time God did something miraculous through Paul's life, I can tell you what was going on in Paul's mind when he was praying. He was seeing the people he killed or maimed or hurt every time he prayed. It broke him. My personal opinion here, he was praying, God, take the memories away from me that I might be free to serve you, because it's impeding me. It's tearing me up. It's eating me up from the inside out of the damage that I've done in your namesake. And Lord, I love you with all my heart. Please take it away. And God said, my grace is sufficient for you. Listen, prayer isn't for the good days. No, prayer is a constant. You have to get beyond feeling good about prayer. You have to get beyond, it's a good day, so I'm going to serve God. There are more bad days than good days. You're going to learn more from your mistakes than you ever will from your successes. I go back to Craig. Bless his heart. There is just such humility in the man. He's so humble. He's one of the most brilliant men I've ever met in my life. I'm scared, okay, you guys know me. I'm not a person of few words. But when I'm around this guy, I don't want to open my mouth because I know I'll be wrong with whatever I say. If you want to know what a bookworm is, his hair might attest to this. Find Craig's picture in the dictionary. We were joking one day about his scholarly ability, and Mike Lacona said to him, "So, when were you about 11 years old when you read Plato in the original languages for the first time?" Craig goes, "Yeah, I think so. It's about right. I read the original Greek when I was 11." With such humility. Well, there's something in Luke I'm going to close with. It says in Luke 18, verses 10 through 14, it says, 2 men went up to the temple to pray. One a Pharisee and one a tax collector. What a conundrum there. You have this Pharisee. Pharisees wrote the scriptures out on their foreheads, and they had prayers on their arm sewn into a gold lame on their clothing, and they put little bells on themselves. It's like the guys with the big trucks with the world will end on May 21st, they're driving around proclaiming God, these pious, I know Jesus. A tax collector who's lower than a grasshopper. The Pharisee standing by himself praying, "Thus God, I thank you I am not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even like that tax collector over there. I fast twice a week. I get tithes from all that I get." But the tax collector, standing afar off, could not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but beat his chest, saying, "God, be merciful to me, a sinner." Jesus went on to say, "I will tell you that this man went down to his house justified rather than the other, and everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and those who humbles himself will be exalted." It's the baser things. God's not going to use a church of rock stars to see transformation. He's going to use a church of a bunch of broken, humble people. That's why I love this church so much. We might be small, but we're the mouse that roars. You guys do so much. And none of us have bragging rights. Well, maybe one or two of you. None of us have bragging rights. It's all about the simplicities. When it comes to our prayer life, don't allow the obstacles, don't allow the negatives, don't allow your weaknesses to keep you from pressing in for what God has in your life.